My collection has come from all over the place. I have gathered parts from garage sales over the years, from my childhood just collecting and buying sets myself, from my older siblings and from friends. It's come from all over the place. And that has left me with some interesting parts and pieces. So I have found and gathered a few of the more weird and abnormal ones, and I'm just going to show them off to you because I think there's some interesting things here. So we're going to start with the least interesting and kind of move up to some of the more strange and more notable ones. But first off, we have this little guy here. This was actually a kids meal from McDonald's in 2003 or 2004. And he has this spring-loaded kind of push on his head, and he pops up and down. And I think you were supposed to attach some utensils to his arms, and he would kind of like scoop things up. He does have connection points on the bottom here, so he is able to stand on some studs. Definitely just kind of a unique thing that they don't really do much anymore, those kids' meals. So kind of a interesting era of LEGO back in the early 2000s. Next up, we have this giant air pump, which was from some Mars mission sets. They might have also been included in some other themes, but this is what this one in particular was from. I remember getting this as a kid. And yeah, it's just this really large, strange piece. It does have studs and connection points on it, but just kind of weird. The whole feature of this thing was you had these tubes that you could attach, and then you would put the aliens in these little cases for them, and then you could just dump the alien in and then just push them around, I guess, to different locations. It was never very convenient because you had to kind of like drop them in just to push them back out. I don't know. It kind of seems like a strange play feature to me, but unique pieces for sure, where you have this tube and then this giant pump that could push air. This is not the kind of thing that you would see anymore probably in sets. This just giant molded piece that has a very unique purpose. Anymore, the pieces that they make and mold are going to be very versatile and going to have a lot of uses. So stuff that's very niche down like this, they have kind of moved away from. Next up, we have this little road track, kind of a base plate, and it folds up into a box, and it can unfold here. So the idea was that you would open this up, lay this out, and then this was your track for your cars that came in the set. And you can attach like light poles and other things with these Technic attachment points here. And then when you're done, you could just fold it back up and drop your cars in there, and it's a little carrying case. I think that was the idea. This was also part of the packaging, I believe. Like, it was just this with like a little bit of cardboard on the outside with some of this exposed, from what I remember. I could be remembering that incorrectly, but definitely a unique thing, kind of fun idea, but now it's just a very unique piece that I'm sure someone could come up with some other uses for besides just a track, but that would be a challenge in and of itself because it's pretty much just a road. But it's a full-on Lego piece. It has the Lego logo. It has connection points that fit with, Technic. So it works in the normal system, but just a very strange piece. Now, getting into some of my favorite ones, we have this very fun era when LEGO was making these giant molded pieces that don't even have the LEGO logo on them and don't have any connection points. So this giant stingray came from a set in 1988 or 1998, I think. At least in the late 90s, I believe, is when they were doing all this kind of stuff. This came in the set 6109, which was, I believe, just a little like submarine or something like that. And then it just came with this giant stingray that on the back you can see it says made in the USA, and it's just like this different kind of plastic too. It doesn't even feel like the normal Lego plastic, but this is huge. For comparison, let me show you a normal base plate. This thing like is about the size of a base plate. It's wider than a base plate if you go this way. This is huge. This is a very big thing. And they just included this with like a small little submarine, which was very strange. They were doing all sorts of weird stuff back then. This is considered an official piece. It's on Bricklink with a part number, but it seems like it was probably made in a different factory, kind of outsourced, that LEGO maybe worked with another company to produce this and then just included it in their set. But it's an official LEGO piece, no connection points, but it looks really interesting. So again, not sure how this could really be used as anything except what it is. It's just a very unique piece. All right, and then lastly, probably my favorite part is really unique. I actually really enjoy having this part, but not sure what I'm ever gonna use it for. This is a raised base plate. I think it's considered like an Aqua playscape, but there are no connection points on this thing. Not on the bottom, which is all hollow with all these like weird holes, or on the top. There's no studs, there's no, there's nothing. It's just a bunch of spikes. It's just this raised base plate, and it is the exact size of a normal 32 by 32 base plate. So it's the exact size, but this also, just like the last one, feels like a very different kind of plastic, not even close to being the same. So very interesting. And I've studied this thing, I've searched all over, and there is no LEGO logo on it, where, every LEGO piece has the LEGO logo, except this one. This one does not have the logo anywhere on it, but it is an official LEGO part. Again, I think they probably used another company to create these and then included it in their set. This wasn't even included in the box of the set because the set that it came in was a small little submarine, and the box just laid right here, and then they wrapped it in plastic. I'll try to show some pictures of that. Just kind of interesting how they packaged this. And the fact that it wasn't even inside a box also kind of tells me this was probably another company that they worked with, and then afterwards they just kind of combined the LEGO box with this company's base plate and then wrapped it all together. But it is an official LEGO part. It's on Bricklink, has a part number, but a very, very interesting thing that they were doing back in those days with all of these strange, very large pre-molded base plates and stingrays and all sorts of things. So I'm pretty happy to have this. I will have to try to incorporate this on a very unique MOC somehow. I don't really know how, because it is kind of just a square of blue pillars, but it's a really unique piece. It's pretty cool to own this. But those are some of the strangest pieces that I was able to find in my collection. Let me know if you have any of these pieces, or if you have some pieces that you have noticed that just seem really out of the blue, like very strange pieces. I would love to see what you guys have. So I hope you've enjoyed. Here's another video for you. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.